I didn't realize it was already 5. All right, it's 5:02. We'll call this, which one is this? The budget work session to order. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Doing roll call, I know Councilmember Lundin is in the parking lot, so he'll be in momentarily. Councilmember Holmgren, I saw driving, so I suspect he'll be here soon as well. Is there any public comment tonight? If there is, I'll open up the public comment. You're welcome to come forward and state your name and address for the record, please. Nope, all right. Hearing no public comment, we will close the public comment. We will move on to adopting the agenda if there are no changes or additions. None?
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Motion to adopt the agenda from Councilmember Peterson, second from Councilmember Heeman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is adopted. We'll move on to F1, work session item 2026 budget, draft budget. Nick?
All right, so there's been some updates that I'll kind of just highlight for you guys from the last time we saw the budget. The Kubota mower that was pushed out in 2023 has been added into the 2026 budget. That was by your guys' request a couple meetings ago, so that has been added. If you're looking through that CIP, that'll be something that was new from the last time you guys have seen this. On kind of the scheduling side of this, we'll come back and set our preliminary tax levy on September 2nd or September 16th, just kind of pending what you guys have for me today and what changes need to be made before that. And then, other than that, any questions from you guys on this stuff? I know I tried to get it to you guys a couple weeks early, so you'd have some time to run through it. So anything pop up for you guys when you were kind of running through it?
I think we talked about most of it at
Yeah.
this point, but
Yep, I feel like we did a really good job on that first run through and kind of got into almost everything that we would have needed to get into, and I feel like staff did a really good job of prioritizing any sort of needs and didn't come in with too much for asks and any of that too, so I feel like we've done a good job so far, but if you guys have anything specific you have questions on, floor is open.
okay. I know Councilmember Holmgren had a question that I'll let him bring up. There has been some questions about Towns Edge Road. Has anybody talked to Jason about that yet? I know it's in the capital improvement plan or the pavement management plan. I didn't know if we'd heard anything back on that. And I know it's split jurisdiction on that road, so it makes it extra hairy.
What year did we have that one out to?
I believe it was 28 or 29.
Okay.
Let's see.
I don't have any specific feedback from Jason on
Okay.
that. The one thing that I do have is I do have info about Railroad Ave. I know you had a couple questions last meeting about that, so Jason kind of gave me the project details that I can run through right
Okay.
now for you guys if you want that.
Yeah, that works.
The plan for that is to reconstruct only the east curb line. They're planning on bringing that east curb line into approximately where the white painted line is on that road, and then putting in a sidewalk from where that old curb line was up to the new one to get that walkway off of the street. And then that road will be reconstructed, and currently the west curb line is still in good conditions. There will be nothing done with the west curb line.
Did you, I mean, maybe I can just talk to him specifically, but did he say anything about all the semi-traffic on that road? And if we move that curb line out to where that white line is there, it won't work. Point blank, it won't work because the semis park on the road edge there, and you can only get one vehicle at a time if you're not using where that white lane is. So did he mention anything about that, or maybe he's not aware of the situation?
Yeah, I talked to him about it a little bit, and he said with the width of that road that it still should be 3 vehicles wide, even with the semi parked, as long as they're up against the curb on that west side.
Therein lies the problem is, if the guy's delivering is smart,
Yeah.
he pulls in a little closer in that lot, and they don't. Because I'll be honest with you, I've gone through there when they've been parked there, and
Even-
they're out in the middle of the road, and you got cars coming at you, you gotta stop, otherwise you're not gonna get around each other.
And that's
I
even
don't
with the
dis-
4 feet extra that's there,
Yeah.
right?
And even then, it's still hairy.
Right.
I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of streets that are too narrow. Even, I live on Salt Passage, not off of Salt Passage, Ironwood. The guy's got a boat that's been sitting on the street all flipping summer. It ain't moved. And there ain't enough room to get by him in a car coming. And there's cars parked on both sides of that street. And I just don't think people realize, you got kids running around on that street and they're playing in the street and they get behind that boat and you come in and you can't see them. I just wish there was a way we could force it either parking on one side or the other.
Sure.
What you don't want to do, because now you're restricting your residents to do things, but there again, that being said, people should be more conscientious of what they're doing. But I do agree with, Luke, is that road, Whiskey Road, and I've been after that sidewalk to get finished for 10 years plus. That's been a big priority because they walk up and down from the VFW back and forth in there.
Oh, yeah, Railroad?
Yeah,
Railroad Ave,
Railroad
yeah.
Avenue.
That's a very high-traffic road,
And
too.
then if you have a street dance, it's a steady traffic of people from the VFW back to the street dance, just like this, all night long, which that's their prerogative to do. But I don't know if there's any way we can encroach into those people's lots and put the sidewalk out and leave the curb where it's at.
Sure.
To me, that would make, if the curb isn't that bad, there's no reason to replace the curb, it's just taking and adding that sidewalk. Or just repair the curb as it's needed to help cut the costs down. So they would have to approach those businesses to find out if they, and there's I think there's one house there.
I think there's 2.
There's that one house right across from Cobalt's Cabinet Shop.
And there's one with a different color fence, so I assume that belongs to there's a
I didn't
brown
think
fence
there
and a
was-
white fence.
I think that's the same people.
Oh,
It's-
yeah, it could be.
But there's still, otherwise it's Jurgen's Custom Cabinet Shop, and I think he owns both those buildings. He used to be.
Auto
Kenny-
City owns the one between the VFW
Oh,
and the,
do they?
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
Kenny Carlson owned that at one point. So that would, and if Auto City, for their benefits by doing that,
Mm-hmm.
I would think they'd be willing to relinquish some of that for a sidewalk.
Yeah, and we might have easement there already available.
Well, you should,
Yeah.
because you got fire hydrant and stuff, but the problem is when you got a fire hydrant, you can't have it in the middle of the sidewalk. The sidewalk has to,
So we're talking a right turn there is where the problem lies?
no,
No.
it's that, so if you go down Railroad Avenue towards VFW, there's a white line painted between the curb on the east side.
Yep.
That is the considered sidewalk.
Right, right?
So they're talking about bringing that sidewalk out to that white line so that now that road's gonna be that 4 feet narrower. I think the sidewalk needs to be on the backside of the curb. I really do.
I drive on that road every day, and there's always a semi-truck parked there. Even right now, like
Right.
Steve said, when you have a truck
Yep.
parked there and traffic coming both ways, you can't barely fit. Engineers in the perfect world where it's 8 feet, 8 feet, 8 feet for a vehicle, maybe it's 24 feet, and it works. But in reality, nobody parks perfect and drives perfect.
And what baffles me is they got that whole offloading area to the south side of their building. Why aren't they utilizing that?
Right?
If they have to bring it around, they can bring it around with a forklift and take up less space than that semi. I mean, maybe something needs to be said to them
Sure.
in that aspect, so that semis aren't parking on the street. They are actually parking in the lanes. They're not parking really in their parking lot, they're parked in the road.
They
And
are.
sometimes they're there for hours.
I noticed that. And they could park closer to the curb.
That's
no
what I
doubt.
said.
Yeah.
Depends on the driver that they get. It's,
mean,
it's
Maybe
all
they
drop
just have
ship,
to,
yeah.
hey, yeah, you can unload, but get
You,
closer to
you
the
know as
curb.
well as I do, you're driving a box truck in the cities.
Right.
You ain't parking out in the street, because you'll get hit. You know that as well as I do. And it's,
In the city, you don't have a choice. You're just
No.
parking where you park.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to go around you.
but it gets to be pretty hairy, and
It is.
I just think that, they have that whole side of that building is for their offloading or loading. Why aren't they utilizing that?
Sure.
I mean, there's a conversation to be had with them on that, but I still think that I think that curb belongs on the east side of that curb,
Yep.
not on the west side of it.
So maybe that's something that we bring back. Nick, go ahead.
In the street construction fund, 20-year CIP, it says that Town's Edge is 2029.
Okay. Couldn't remember if it was 28 or 29. Does it have project cost on that?
Uh,
I don't think
It
it
does
did.
637,721.
Okay.
But I do have to say, the patching, because I drive on that every day
Mm-hmm.
to and from work, that patching they did is marvelous.
It's a phenomenal job for a patch.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice.
And
Yeah.
in a separate line is Town Edge Road Southeast Utility Improvement, which says developer.
Because I think that's on the south side of Town Edge Road.
Oh.
Because that's all developed.
So development driven.
And that might be the utility improvements and stuff being.
Let's bring that to council hall and talk about that some more.
Yeah.
And let's see exactly what they have planned.
We
for that
definitely,
amount of
Jason's gonna
money,
have to
What
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
thinking of doing. I mean,
It's split
I'm thinking that's
jurisdiction.
10 years out, easy before I think they develop that land in there.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
I know
Right.
Cobalt owns some of that.
They own all of it.
Yes, he does. He owns all the way up to the swamp.
It'd be nice to be able to do both at
Except for
once.
those, except for the old Paul Altman buildings.
Correct. Yep.
I don't know, I was at one time was told the city owned that because we took it in tax forfeiture.
It's owned by a guy named Brian now.
Okay, because I know that city at one point had taken that over as
Sure.
tax forfeiture. But I know, I noticed somebody's been out there working on that
Yep.
house.
Yep.
I know that one of the guys down there said there were a lot of kids hanging out, drug dealings and shit going on in there.
But yeah, going back to Railroad Ave, I'll go back to Jason with it and have him for the next meeting that he's at, kind of talk you guys through what that project is
Okay.
looking like and your guys' ideas for it. I know that he mentioned that we could extend the road about 2 feet on the west side, but that would require basically breaking up that curb that's still good. And so he said that's an additional roughly $140,000 on that project just to widen it by 2 feet. So he said that was his current idea, but maybe after hearing what you guys had to say tonight, he can get a little better idea of other ideas for it. So
Do you know those old city hourglass people?
Do I know him? Yep.
Yeah. You know, have that conversation about taking into that other building they got. I can talk to Bruce and see where he feels on that. Maybe you are, but I think the one house, their fence, they enter coming off of whatever,
Pinto?
whatever that street is that, on the other side of the old hardware store, between that and the apartments. I think they enter
Oh,
from that.
Dahlin?
Yeah.
Dahlin and Broadway?
Yep, and then that's the back side of their house. Because I know that other little house, they enter off of Broadway.
Right.
So it's already got privacy fences in there, so I don't think it would really matter to them.
Just the trees and the, I guess, utility poles.
We'd have
That'd be
to,
adjacent. Yeah.
that'd be where Jason would have to go in there, but I can talk to Bruce and see how he feels about losing, 4 feet, 6 feet, whatever it takes. Because I know that fire hydrant, if the sidewalk, the fire hydrant can't really be in the sidewalk, it's not supposed to.
Okay. So that'll be something that maybe Jason can come back with the railroad and Towns Edge Road, a preliminary, I guess, estimate on what we're gonna do. If you look at the map, it is split jurisdiction between the county on the south side of Towns Edge and the city on the north side of Towns Edge Road, so I don't know how that works. And then I had a question also, maybe for Stephanie, how does that work with the MS4 stormwater requirements? Because the county's not required to do like the same storm sewer that we are.
right.
So how does that work on that road? Can we just pitch the one side of the road all the way to the county side, or?
That would be a question for Jason as
Okay.
well. So I'm not sure exactly how the MS4 rules pertain to our requirements for curb and guttering. I'm sure we have to do something to direct the water regardless, even the county. But I'm not sure what those standards are on that kind of situation.
Okay,
Because I did look at that the other day when I went through there, and I know the county is on the other side. It would look kind of stupid if you only put curb on one side, but yet again, cost savings. Sometimes I don't feel curb is always necessary, personally.
Especially with the lowland there already.
Well, but then it also keeps any water running down that road going into those residences on the north side of that.
Right.
So that protects anything running into their yard, so that'd be a hard one to, we'd have to see what we can and can't do. I know if we get state aid on that road, we do have to put a curb and gutter on it to get that state aid, which helps those people living on that road, so it doesn't cost them an arm and a leg.
I was at LMC today, and they are talking about potentially loosening the state aid requirements for certain things. I don't know if that's one of them, but
And
they're-
probably not.
Yeah,
Well, that road should definitely qualify for state aid. I mean, that's one of our main in and out.
Yeah, it is.
That is one busy road.
is that a snow emergency route?
I don't believe so. I think the only things that are snow emergency routes are paths to schools, to the school where they would take to go pass to schools.
Okay.
I think that partially sets up that snow emergency route area. I think Main Street is definitely one of them. I think Whiskey is one of them. 5 is another one. So with that being said, I don't believe that's a snow emergency road.
Okay. And Stephanie, do you know how you make a road a snow emergency route, or is that part of like the comp plan, or is that the state, or is that a Jason question too?
That's another good
Okay.
question.
Where is he tonight?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's busy. He has a good reason not to be here tonight.
Sure.
But, we'll have to look further into the snow emergency routes. I don't know if that's something we create with the comp plan, or if I think Steve's correct, it's related to schools, hospitals, and anything that we need access to, or to provide access to the main routes. So we'll have to look into that also, and it
Okay.
doesn't mean that a road can't become part of a snow emergency route either. But I also think this is a township road, so that complicates things even a little more, so.
So township, county, city, and state, all on that one. That one we should start planning, if it's gonna be 2029, we should start planning last year with all those moving
How
parts.
can you have 3 on,
I think it's a township road, but the county does their zoning, so I'm not sure who we talk to or how that works. Jason would know. He's
Okay.
worked with them before, so.
Sounds good.
And I don't think you really want to, I don't think you want to make that a snow emergency route, because then there's certain aspects we have to do.
Right.
Legally. I mean, Travis can answer some of that, I would assume, but when you make it a snow emergency route, let's say somebody is parking there, which they don't park, you and I all know they don't park there, but if it is snow emergency route, then they weren't allowed to park on that. Because of that, now it's hindering. Both of those houses are back far enough that
Right.
it
All of
wouldn't.
them are, they all have
Well,
long
there's
driveways.
a couple of them on the east side before you get the railroad that are closer. But I mean, there's other aspects that's gonna require, when you make it a snow emergency route, there's things that you can't allow to happen on it.
I was just thinking for funding. I don't know if
I
you get
don't
more
know
with
if it-
snow
I don't
emergency
think-
routes or just state aid is really the only,
State aid would be the only reason,
Okay.
anything. And I think, and I'm not 100% sure Jason is the answer to that guy. As many times as I heard about getting state aids to do some of these streets, they have to meet a certain criteria. And I think Towns Edge Road would meet that criteria, because like me, I go to work, I head south on 65. I could take Polk Street or Railroad Avenue all the way down and turn just before Bjorkland's again on, but I don't like doing that, because now the traffic from the stoplights are doing 80 miles an hour every time they get there, and I can't get on the road, so I come up here so it's get a little better break to get on. So, yeah. Especially when we lost Main Street, when they blocked that off
Yep.
so you couldn't cross. That's my next fear, is the state's gonna block that off so you can't go straight across 65. And then I can make another nightmare like they got up at Kajima, or however you wanna say it.
Yeah, the
or
J
down-
turns.
Or down at Viking Boulevard, where you have to cross 2 lanes of traffic to turn and to go north again. That's just, to me, I don't understand how that's safer, but
Hey Travis, have you seen any accidents in those two turnouts they have there on 65?
North Ryan Lake and Towns Edge Road, isn't it?
Well, no, that, we've seen a lot. I mean,
Northtown.
those turnouts that they put up.
Oh, those,
Kajima.
okay, Kajima?
Nothing related to that new intersection interchange of, that I can think of. There may have been some minor stuff, but there hasn't been anything significant there. But there had been significant accidents
Yeah,
prior to
Town
that,
Edge.
so,
Okay,
yeah.
like Town Edge, that's a bad one.
When Ross Lawrencer was on council, because he works for Anoka County, he's a deputy, and he had said that it's been a proven fact that those things are much safer, but I don't know, in my head, when you gotta cross 2 lanes of traffic, and the way people drive today, this is no kidding, and this goes to your roundabout. I was on a roundabout off of 694 on Rice Street, and I was slowing down to make my turn to go, because do the roundabout. This woman, pardon me when I say this, I don't want to offend anybody, she cut me off and shot in front of me because I apparently wasn't going fast enough for her. I was doing 60. So I'm just saying that, and it's not just a woman that's doing, there's guys that do this all the time. So it's the way people drive. Since COVID, they've never driven the same before that.
It's, yes, it got way out of hand. It's just starting to calm down a little bit, but it was way out of hand.
All right, let's get back to the budget. Anybody have any other questions on the budget? I know we were planning to talk about Emerald Ash Borer, and I'm a little bit concerned about how to budget for that type of a situation. I'm not sure if we need to take money from a different account and use it for that. I don't know if anybody has any ideas, or do we just hold off on that since we're not talking about that tonight?
It is up to you. It's very valid timing since
Okay.
we're at the budget. I would also say that we did get notification today that that relief grant program from the state is open now. So it would be the right time to consider what the plans are moving forward with that. But yeah.
I did reach out to a Public Works Director that has experience with grant writing for the EAB. He's been doing it for, I don't know, a couple years already, and I did give Josh Becker his phone number to call him. So if Josh wants to apply for those grants, which I think we should, and hopefully we could, get his experience with it and use his experience to help us. I don't know if we have any other options, but I think the grant funding is definitely a necessity. They did allocate more funds through the state for Emerald Ash Borer next year, but not nearly enough. I think it was something like 2 million or 2.1 million total, but 60% of that goes towards the Metro 7, of course. So there is there's more money available, but not significantly more, but you never know, so.
I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think any elm tree or any trees that are on the boulevard side of the cities, which we do not allow planting there anymore. But I mean, you go out and look at those trees, they're 5-6 feet in diameter. They obviously were there before this whole plan was in effect. I think it's our responsibility to take those trees down for those people. That's me personally.
If they ask.
If it is having the ash borer in it, it needs to be removed. That's just gonna save any other ash trees.
So just to give you context, we do have, I believe it's roughly 500 trees. That could be 450 to 600 trees, ash trees. Doesn't mean they're diseased, all of them, in the right of way within the city limits. So
I believe
just-
the report said 80% are infected. You're not gonna save any ash trees in the city ever.
Probably
They're gonna-
not.
They're gonna all die. Even if
Yep.
you cut down the ones that are infected, the bug migrates to a non-infected tree. And then the life cycle of they breed there and it's 2 years and then they kill the tree within 5 years.
But even if within that 5 year, it's easier to budget.
Right, yep,
for
and
whatever.
that's what we should talk
But
about
I-
tonight. How do we,
But I think what we ought to do is we need to find the most severe trees. It's like the one gentleman that came in and I don't disagree with him. It's on that boulevard. I've always struggled with this. It's my land, but the city tells me what I can do with it, right? Because it's in the right of way. I only think it's right at that point then, the city should take and remove that tree.
yeah.
I mean, that's just like you have a curb stop and it's leaking. at the curb stop, but it's on your side of the curb stop and not the city side, you're responsible to fix it. Personally, if I could care less, I ain't paying for the water, let it run. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or I'm spending 4, 5, 6, 10 grand to dig up my yard and repair it. I've always struggled with that. It's not my curb stop, it's the city's curb stop.
I
And
think this is a bigger conversation that maybe we should
It is.
discuss again and look back at what we had talked about
I think
before.
that would
Yeah.
be best, just that
Yeah.
we have all the information. I know Jared has some numbers on treating versus, so they did do the work to figure that out, and so I think that'll be better. So that'll come back, and we can bring it back to the next council meeting if we want it to impact the budget, so we'll do that.
Should we talk at all about budgeting for it tonight, or just wait?
I
mean,
would say just wait.
Okay.
And when you have all the information, then it might be easier for you guys to decide what you want to budget each year.
Can we direct you guys to start applying for the grant since it's open?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fair enough. Are you guys good with them applying for the grant?
absolutely.
Yeah,
100%,
Nick?
yes.
Sure.
okay,
It'll help us make a better decision on how to approach this,
yeah, maybe we'll get lucky.
yeah. I mean,
All right.
I think
Any other budget-related questions? There's a lot of stuff here.
And then I will mention the only other change that you'll see the next time the budget's in front of you, me and Stephanie had time to run back through our technology budget and kind of get things reevaluated. So that's Fund 614. There'll be a change there where the capital expenditures there will be $17,990 for 2026. That'll be up from the $14,134.
And why is that up?
That was just reshuffling after looking at kind of Stephanie kind of went through and tagged everything in the city to get how many years ago stuff was replaced. And it just kind of differed from the plan that had been out there before because things had been pushed on the previous plan. So that's just to get caught back up in 26 and then smooth things out from there going forward.
We just were made aware of computers I don't think we all knew existed and weren't part of the plan, and so I made sure we had every device within the city on the plan now, and so literally tagged them myself. I still have a few more to do, but now I know where they all are, and we know which ones are actually being utilized, took the ones off that weren't being utilized, and just want to make sure we don't have devices that are being utilized regularly by staff who need them that aren't over 10 years old and take them longer to do their job. And so just keeping it on a consistent cycle.
If we don't know they existed, do we even need them?
Well, we just didn't know they existed in the budget. So we knew they existed in their place, but we
Okay.
didn't know they existed on the budget. So, sorry, should have clarified.
Okay,
So they just weren't in the budget for replacement because I think they were just missed somehow. So just doing a good inventory was helpful, just to see where we actually were at.
and you think they're necessary?
Yes. Yep, the ones that aren't necessary or ones that we think are second tier are getting replaced with older devices. So we're not replacing everything with a new device. It just, we have a 6-year cycle for the ones that are needed, as well as a 3-year cycle for emergency-only devices. So like, I believe there's 3 devices like that, the police chief, Administrator Wood, and as well as the SCADA system. So they'll be replaced every 3 years. And basically their other computers will become their backup computers, so those will be 6 years old by the time they're done using them.
Nick, you have any questions on that, or you want to see a printout, or?
Yeah, I never got the WB, I can't remember what the name of the company was, but our contractor for the IT solutions. I never got his contact info or heard from him, but I do have questions for him.
So those, that technology stuff was all CIP, or was added to the CIP?
Yeah, so that's what you'll see for 614. I don't even think I attached it with this set of budget just since we knew that was going to change. So That's the amount that'll change in the 26 budget, plus there'll be a whole new CIP plan laid out for what the next, I think, 5 years for that fund looks like too, so.
What was the adjusted amount?
It's going up to $17,990, up from $14,134, and that is in Fund 614. So we still have enough money projected to come in there from our cable franchise fees to continue to cover our tech needs, though. And that is what funds that technology fund currently is, just the cable franchise fees that we have currently in place.
Any other budget questions? Things that we should go through?
No, I'm just waiting for some more numbers to come in to
That's what I'm waiting
solidify.
for.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah, insurance, workman's comp,
Yeah,
all that,
all the-
yeah. We are pretty early yet, so,
It's like, I'm sure we're gonna be doing most of our work in about another month from now.
Nick, have you seen anything that you're not happy with? I know you've dove in a little bit further on stuff. Is there anything that you're concerned about, or that you think that we're spending money on that we don't need to, or anything that we haven't talked about? You pretty happy?
Yeah, I think that you guys have done a really good job and staff has done a really good job of kind of pulling anything out of the budget that we didn't think was necessary. So I think we've done a really good job up to this point, and now it's just kind of seeing where things land in 2025 for any sort of adjustments we'll have to make too. So we are all done through July, so you guys should be seeing a report here soon for all of our expense stuff through July coming to you guys soon too, so.
So I was looking for the skate upgrade you were just talking about for the 3-year plan for that, and I saw that the skate upgrade is listed twice in 2 different accounts. It's supposed to be divided between the two.
Yeah, it's split between water and sewer since it's the monitoring system for both of them.
It's a
So,
pretty
yeah,
cool system if you haven't seen it yet.
We'll have a SCADA upgrade in 2026, so I believe we have that on the schedule for January, February. Josh has already been working with them on that.
And I don't
It's on
think
the
we had
mobile
the,
side, yeah.
You've seen it on the mobile side?
Yeah, he
and I
pulled it up.
don't think we had the correct number in for that also, so we had to increase that. So that was actually one of the higher increases, I believe, that was making sure that we have that correct, because it was, I believe, slated at the same cost as a regular computer, and it's more than that. So I think that was one of the areas that we had to increase.
So was
Also
that,
something we never want to go wrong with.
yeah, was that part of the $3,856 increase?
I believe that was one of the, like, the major increase of that.
Okay,
It might be an additional
Yeah,
computer,
I think we
but
have one additional computer too that was shuffled to 26 from a later year, but like Stephanie was saying too, we kind of had everything planned per position and didn't think about any sort of like physical desktops that are used by multiple people. Those were kind of the things that got missed for those replacement schedules, kind of those shared use items.
and I know in council, we will have something with the parks position, and the consent agenda. Is that something that I know we seem to have struggles with that every couple of years, there's turnover on that. Is that something, have we ever considered like a part-time for that? And what the budget implications might be on something like that?
it is something we've talked about before in the past, the council has. I mean, I don't think the part-time is the way to go. I actually think there's a lot going on in that position, and every year more gets added to that plate. And so I think some of it's the burnout of the additions to that plate is why we're seeing a high turnover. It's not necessarily that there's not there's always something to be done in that position. They're running around here like crazy all the time. So I don't think that's the cause. I would say there's too much on that plate would be. So going to a part-time would not help with anything. We'd have to definitely look at cutting what we have going on with parks. If that
Maybe,
were
I mean,
considered.
maybe that's a discussion, if we continue to have turnover every 2 years on average, maybe that's the discussion we need to have. You know, is there anything that we don't have to do that is a substantial burden for them. I know Illuminated Isani, hopefully coming off, that will be a big relief. But I don't know if that's something we talk about. Maybe that's a
think it
discussion
is.
item for a different day on, you know, how you hire for that position or what sort of job responsibilities there are. Because that has been a common question amongst people is why does that position keep turning over?
It's a high learning curve, and, you know, Jessica's just starting to fit into that position, I think, in the last 6 months exceptionally well. And I think it takes a good year, year and a half just to get a feel for that position and all that's involved, and how the city runs, and what's budgeted per year for that position right now? Or what were we paying out per year for that position?
I guess full-time wages and salaries with, yeah, that has other people's in it.
Yeah, so that position will be about $70,000 for the wage, and then fully with benefits, looking at around $110,000 in total for that spot. I know conversations kind of that me and Stephanie had about it too is potentially trying to get that position a little more help kind of on a year-round basis too, because when the intern's here, that has helped assist that position with kind of handling the community events and different things that are happening. So it's what can we potentially do to help kind of shift some of that workload so that person doesn't, in their busy times, doesn't have these big stretches where they have a lot on their plate, which is potentially causing some of the burnout in that spot too. Just another thing to potentially discuss too. What other assistance can we give that person to?
The busy times in the summer, and they have an intern during that time, and during the winter, other than Illuminated Isani, is there that much park stuff?
It's all the planning for the summer, so everything is planned starting in October, basically, for the rest of the year, including community garden, and it's just, it slows down, but I would say the pace is steady, because community garden sign up starts, we usually have grant applications that we're applying for art stuff or for parks and
Okay.
other things always going on, so it doesn't really, I would say this person the last few years hasn't had a great slow down, especially with Illuminated Isani on their plate, and
Yeah.
that month is crazy, like the amount of comp time earned during the Illuminated Isani the last few years is they're working a lot, and so it's a high pressure, very visible position, also a lot of scrutiny, so.
How's that
it's-
gonna work this year with her resigning and the partnership?
Well,
Hi.
I'm on the partnership board now,
Okay.
so I'll be there to help, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we could look at that position again and see if we can get some flexibility to it, and I know staff could use help on a lot of other things, I'm sure, during the
Do-
wintertime.
Does that person have to have a degree? I know in our job description,
I
it,
would
We
like to
have-
see it.
We have hired people without a degree in that
Okay.
position also, so it just depends on what kind of experience they have.
does that
And
come with
so-
lower pay then?
Yep, then we'll
Okay.
offer at different pay scales, so, I mean, it's all graded, just like all of our positions are, based on experience and education for that specific role, so, yes.
If we could hire someone at a lower pay scale, that might be a better sales pitch for having an intern in the winter as well, to make up for that. I don't think having a degree nowadays really makes a whole heck of a lot of difference. If you're good at planning events, you're good at planning events.
True, that is true.
And we have we've hired people with Park and Rec, I mean, it's been all over the map, we've hired
Sure.
event planners, we've hired previous definite Park and Rec people. We've hired, Joska does not have a degree in this at all, like, so and she was our intern the year before, so and she's been fabulous and is leaving for personal reasons, not because she doesn't love working here, so she assured us of that, but.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so it's just I know it's a pretty demanding position with multiple nights and weekends being expected, and if even when they have an intern to alleviate some of that, it's hard when you want to do a good job. You want to make sure the things that you've been, you know, working on still are successful. So it's, yeah,
Okay,
rewarding and stressful.
sure. So Nick, I had messaged Miss Wood today. I realized she's on vacation. But we were talking at LMC today about the paid leave that the state mandated. There is you can either pay into the deed program, which is 0.88%, split between the employee and the employer at 0.44 each. Have you looked into the private options for that? Because there are a couple other different options, and it sounds like the city might have more flexibility on the private side. Is that something you've looked into, and the budget impact on it or anything?
Yeah, so they've gotten some preliminary quotes kind of on what those contribution percents would be. I believe Katie's kind of working on pulling all that info together and working with those vendors on that, so it seems like there's a chance that's the route we go, just because that contribution percentage is gonna be lower, and some of those companies have experience with other states that have a similar mandate of how
Correct.
they've kind of had to manage it, so, yeah, we are currently working on that. I know once Josie's back, I believe we're planning on getting together and kind of going over our options there.
Okay, and I know there's serious concern at the state legislation about the rollout of that deed program. They're expected by October 1st to say yes or no if it's going to be effective by January 1st. And there were House and Senate members there today that spoke with us that are not too pleased with how it's going. So I think I'd rather just vote for the private sector on that if we can get good rates.
Yeah, and some of those have 2-year lock-ins too, so we'll be
Okay.
locked in at that percentage for a couple of years versus the state. I know they've talked about they're gonna have to reevaluate it once it's kind of rolled out, and so that percentage is kind of subject to change, which makes it a little tougher to plan for too, so.
Yep. Okay. Well, sounds good. I'm happy you guys thought about that. Good job. George, you're looking at the budget. See anything else in there you're curious about?
Not at this point. Nope.
Good, Steve?
I still think, when we go to set our preliminary budget, I think we should do a tax deduction, but I think we should keep that up higher. So if something does overrun,
Right.
and we do have more time before the December deadline, just like you and I talked last budget session, I'd rather say we're at 5% deduction. We just can't go over that. And I'd hate to say, let's set it at 12 and then make it work, and it doesn't. Then we're SOL.
Yep.
I'd rather stay on that cautious side. There's always unforeseens. I mean, everybody wants to see a tax deduction. I don't care who you are. But I still think we need to be on the cautious side of that.
Agreed.
And I think you agreed with that last time.
I know you did last year, Luke, but I'm on the side of setting it lower and having to meet it, but.
That's fair. Yeah. Potato, potato.
Right.
Jeff, what are you thinking?
Is there a way I can get a map of all the seal coating projects for the next 10 years, whatever the project
Yeah,
is?
yep, Jason has a pavement management plan that has a map broken down with the year by year highlighted for what streets are going to get worked on, so I can have him work on getting us that original copy, or Stephanie may have it right here.
Is it update or the 2022 one?
2022 one, yep. So that's the plan we're still working off of. There's been some slight changes to that, but more so just grouping up of projects, not necessarily big changes for what we've planned to do.
That project grouping has saved a lot of money in the last 2 years. That's,
Yep.
if we can keep
Well,
doing
we had
that,
a 19% decrease in
yeah.
our projected cost on the one project. That's good.
Yes.
How much of those have shifted then? Because that showed Town's Edge in 24, but it's at 29. Is that the only one that got pushed back that far, or is a bunch of them?
To my knowledge, that's the only one that has gotten bumped. I believe that also may have been a developer-driven one, which is why that's kind of been bumped out more, because it was going to be more reliance kind of on that stuff south of it becoming part of the city. That's also potentially a chunk of it, but for the most part, a lot of the maintenance stuff hasn't really changed there. There's maybe things that got done in different years than were originally planned there, but kind of going out into the future, most of it's still pretty similar, or at least those dollar amounts are very similar to what we expect going forward.
I mean, financially, it might be a better play to do it before it becomes a city road, because right now, we own half of it, so we'd probably be on the hook for half of it. When it's a city-owned road, we own all of it, we're on the hook for all of it. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm
Okay.
not sure what our ability is
We
to,
need to talk to Jason
Make-
about it.
yeah, make somebody else pay for their portion of a project that they may not see the need for. So
okay.
Jason will be able to get us more info kind of on how that looks. So I'll send him an email and let him know so that he can come prepared for the next meeting that he's at.
Okay, sounds good. So this is the seal coating map. Thanks for getting those so fast. What is it, about every 5 years for seal coating in Crackville, generally? Okay. Was there something, Nick, that you were concerned about there specifically? Nick Peterson, sorry.
No, it's just when I heard about the Town's Edge thing and I looked at the map and it was saying it was on 24 for Town's Edge.
It says 34, if you look at
Oh,
the chart.
The pink-white is 34?
Yeah,
Okay.
which I can tell you,
I
it's
thought they were
not
trying-
gonna last till then.
I thought it was dashed to show the county border that was passing through there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. What is this, why is Tyler Avenue slated for seal coat in 35 when it's not even paved yet? Same with Pond Street and same with Fourth Ave. Is that supposed to be a placeholder of some kind for something else?
I think he probably just plans ahead, just in case if we're developer driven, they do it in project areas, so I would imagine just planning ahead, but we'll ask Jason.
Have it there in the plan in
Yeah.
case we need to get funding or something? Okay.
And with some of those, that might be based off of when we believe it's gonna get paved, that 5 to 7 years out of when we think that project may have been initiated, might be where those projections came from. And so some of this may be a little dated now, like we said, it's from 22, so
Yep.
things have changed a little bit, but for the most part, it holds pretty true.
All right. Any other questions?
What's the average extension of life on a road when you seal coat them like this?
Good Jason question. Very good Jason question.
Now, he's brought it up numerous times, that it could get anywhere variance from 5 to 10 years.
I was thinking it was around 5, but I'd like to
He
hear.
said 5 to 10.
Okay,
And it all depends on the condition of the road. You know,
Sure.
the more you keep up on it, the longer it's gonna last.
The crack fill is actually, I think, the more important thing of that, because the cracks, water gets in there in the winter, freezes, expands, bumps it up for the plow hits it, takes out pavement.
yep,
Yeah.
Well, if you seal it, the top, if you ever look at asphalt, if you don't seal coat it, within 5 years, the rocks are all popping out, and now it's
Sure.
creating a bigger problem. Prime example, my driveway, when I built my house in 2018, they didn't compact it. The base coat, So within 3 months, my driveway's cracked. I got gaps this wide in my driveway. And I got told that, what are you effing stupid? We don't warranty our blacktop. I was not a happy camper because it's $7,000 to replace it.
Yeah.
And it's gotta come out and get recompacted. It's, you know, I'm doing everything. I'm trying to seal coat it every other year, trying to make it last longer and longer. It's, but that's what's
Okay.
important. So, when you seal coat it, it does help maintain the longevity of it and the top surface, and then it doesn't pop all the rocks out.
All right, well, any other questions? If not, we could probably adjourn. I know there's gonna be a lot of information that comes in the next couple months, so.
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, and then like I said, if you guys have any questions, always feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email and I can get you an answer on whatever you're looking for.
Sounds good. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if you guys are all good.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Holmgren, second by Councilmember Peterson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned, and we will pick up Planning Commission in 7 minutes.